I think we have now established that Austria is a good place to do research for companies. So we'll now take a closer look at the life sciences sector in Austria. Sonja Polan is responsible for international marketing at LISA, Life Science Austria. Together with Doris Dobida from ABA, she will present you the industry here in Austria. And then Elisabeth Lackner, she is a CEO of GBA Group Pharma, will explain why Austria is an important location for her company. So, Sonja, the floor is yours now.
Thank you very much for ABA for giving me the opportunity for presenting the vibrant Austrian life science sector today. Austrian life science companies and research institutes obviously are active in a huge whole range of number of fields, but today I just want to give you an overview of the four most important parts we are really good at. And these four sectors are therapeutics, medical technology, advanced diagnostics and analytics, as well as production and platform technologies. In therapeutics, we mainly focus on tackling the challenge of cancer, as well as novel vaccines and the fight against infectious diseases. And a small country like Austria is, with short distances and very strong networks, is in an excellent position to form multidisciplinary teams to tackle the challenge cancer. We also have a number of top-notch first-class research institutes active in Austria in the area of cancer. One of them is, for example, the CEM, the Center for Molecular Medicine. And this research institute is working on innovative novel approaches to tackle cancer. Another very big player in this arena is pharma giant Boehringer Ingelheim, which finances its own research institute in Vienna, in the Institute for Molecular Pathology, which also focuses very strongly on cancer. And this collaboration makes Boehringer, puts it in a very good position to work on very innovative cancer therapy approaches. Another player, which is related to Boehringer Ingelheim, is Vera Therapeutics, which is a startup which was set up in Tyrol, in the west of Austria. And they are working on immunotherapies against cancer. That means they are developing viruses which fight cancer cells but don't harm normal cells. Then obviously we have a lot of companies, especially in Vienna, which are working on novel vaccines and fighting infectious diseases in innovative ways. I just want to point out a few of them. One of them is, for example, Keeper, as well as Femis Bioscience, which are developing innovative vaccines dealing and fighting a lot of infectious diseases. Femis especially, they are fighting against chikungunya, for example, Zika or the norovirus, and they have now also joined the fight against the global pandemic and are working on a new vaccine against COVID-19. Another very big player which announced and which IPO'd last year is Marinomed, another Viennese based companies, and they have their own platform fighting against respiratory diseases. Another very big area in the Austrian life science arena is medical technologies. We have a lot of tradition in this area, which are also rooted in a very strong tradition in first-class engineering. And a number of very big players have put foot in Austria and set up production and development, as well as research facilities in Austria. One of the really big ones is Otto Bock, the German prosthetics leader, which has more than 500 employees based in Austria. And then we have, for example, also Medel, which is a technology leader in the area of implantable hearing devices. And they were set up in Tyrol in 1990, and they have now more than 2,000 employees. Then we have definitely a big strength in digital health. So there are more than a third of the Austrian medical device companies are active in this field. And I just want to point out two examples, which are image biopsy labs as well as context flow, and they have developed learning softwares to help doctors to help them analyze radiological images. And there is a huge variation, and there's a huge range of companies working in the medical device. They range from ventilators to, for example, Tyromotion, which is producing robotics in the area of rehabilitation. Then also in diagnostics, we are really strong. Down the value chain, we have a lot of different players in this area. For example, the medical University of Graz has emerged as one of the biggest biobanks in Europe in recent years, as well as molecular diagnostics, where we have plenty of players. For example, there is also a company called DirectSense, which is active in the area of biosensors and has produced a strip for the dairy industry to diagnose low levels of lactose. Then we come to the platform and production technologies. Also here we have down the value chain a lot of very innovative and top-class players. To reinforce already our strong position, we have set up two world-class research centers in Austria. The Austrian Center for Industrial Biotechnology, which brings together 200 partners from industry as well as research out of the industrial biotechnology area, and the RCPE, which focuses on production and processes in the pharmaceutical industry. Then we have also CETA, for example, which is an industry leader in the construction of plants in the pharmaceutical area. We also have contract manufacturing organizations, for example, Eucodis Bioscience, which focuses on the enzyme production. And then we have companies which have a very important place in the pharmaceutical value chain, for example, like ABF, Pharmaceutical Services, and we have today with us Ms. Dr. Elisabeth Lackner, who is the CEO of ABF as well as GBA Group Pharma.
Hello, thank you for the kind introduction. My name is Elisabeth Lackner. I'm CEO of GBA Group Pharma, an international service provider for the global pharma and biotech industry. We manage GBA Group Pharma out of Vienna, where our largest unit, ABF, is located. ABF is a contract manufacturing organization specialized in clinical trial supply for clinical studies and commercials, and represents one of the largest hubs in the European Union for clinical trial supply and commercials. Our responsibility for the international pharma and biotech industry is to import drug into the European market, release it, prepare it for clinical studies, as well as be responsible for the logistic globally. With our knowledge based in the Vienna office, we support the international pharma and biotech industry when it comes to research and development from phase 1 to phase 4 studies in commercial products. Therefore, we also attract people to come to the nice place Vienna because we have a lot of knowledge there, qualified persons, project management for the international industry.
Obviously, as the rest of the world, we were also covered by the global pandemic of SARS-CoV-2. And there have been also plenty of Austrian life science companies which have been mobilizing against the global pandemic. I want to mention this as well in one or two words. And a few of them have been active, also supported by the Austrian government as well as the European Union. And their services and their research ranges from developing a new vaccine against COVID-19, as well as offering therapeutics such as a PeptiCo, a Polan, and Marinomate, and ranging also from offering new innovative test kits which give antibody tests, precise ones, to the development of protective equipment. Just to give you a little bit of perspective of how important the life sciences is for the location Austria, we have summarized the most important figures for you. In 2018, there have been 917 Austrian life science companies. They employed more than almost 55,500 people, and generated a revenue of almost 22.5 billion euros, which equals about 6.1% of the Austrian gross domestic product. And broken down between the biggest sectors, you see the sectors are more or less equal between the biopharmaceutical and pharmaceutical industry, as well as the medical device sector. So you have 363 Austrian pharmaceutical and biotech companies generating a revenue of more than 11 billion euros and employing more than 28,000 people. And you have about 550 medtech companies employing 26,000 people and generating more than 8 billion of revenues. And there have been in 2018 more than 55 Austrian research institutes with more than 20,000 people, staff, and 67,000 students. Now I want to hand over to Doris Dobida, who is going to say a few words about direct investment in Austria.
Hello everybody, good morning or good evening, wherever you are. Among those companies Sonja mentioned, there are a lot of foreign-owned companies. Many of them are currently expanding, like ABF Pharma and its parent company GBA Group, which made a major investment last year in its Vienna facility, for example. And so do many more. One example we heard already is Boehringer Ingelheim, but beside the research facility they run here in Austria, currently they are building up a new plant, a huge plant, with an investment about 700 million euro and creating 500 jobs here in the Vienna region. The energy plant and the logistics center already are working, and the rest of the plant will go into full operation till the end of this year. Another example is, for example, the US-based Merck sister company MSD Animal Health, currently expanding at its facility in Krems, Lower Austria, where they erect a production plant for bacterial antigens and invest about 430 million euros, creating 350 new jobs in the region. By the way, Sonja mentioned that MSD already invested in a Vienna startup, Themis Bioscience, recently. So this also was a step done by MSD these days. Another example is the Swiss biotech company Pharma. Pharma runs a plant here in Vienna, already opened a research facility and a pilot plant, and it will double its production capacities within the next 6 years. This is an investment about 140 million euros, creating around 300 jobs overall. I think that these impressive numbers show how attractive Austria is as a life sciences location for direct investment, not only for R&D, but also for production and of course for clinical trials. I don't know whether there is left time for questions.
There's some time left for question. I'd like to ask Sonja whether she could give us a little bit more detail about LISA. What does the program do for life sciences companies?
Life Science Austria is an integrated program which is run by the Austrian Austria Wirtschaft Service, which is the Austrian promotional bank, on behalf of the Federal Ministry of Digital and Economic Affairs. And we are basically offering services along the whole value chain of the life science startup. That means that in the beginning, we offer companies a business plan competition, which is the best of biotech, which is trying to get more researchers to think about setting up their own company. Later on, we are offering very interesting funding possibilities for a life science startup. So we have a non-refundable pre-seed funding of up to 200,000 euros, which is meant for helping life science companies to make the step into setting up a real company. And we have seed financing of up to 800,000 euros, which is only refundable in case of sale of the company or if you really turn a profit. And in a later stage, we are helping companies, which is my part of the program. We are supporting companies to internationalize by working together with all 5 Austrian life science clusters and helping young companies as well as established companies to be efficient on an international market by offering services in international fairs and conferences. And we offer an integrated program for every stage of setting up a life science company. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonja, for the insights on LISA.
Remember, there are the clusters you mentioned.
Yeah.
They are spread all over Austria. I mean, there's a big one in Vienna. There's another one in Lower Austria, in Tyrol, in Styria. They are working closely together in this program.
Exactly, yes. In total, there are five Austrian life science clusters located all over Austria. The biggest hub, obviously, is in Vienna, as it is Austria's biggest location for the life sciences. Then we have one in the west of Austria, which is the cluster life sciences in Tyrol, a very active one, obviously also in industrial biotechnology as well as in digital health, is the Styrian cluster. Then we have the Technopol program of EcoPlus in Lower Austria, and then we have Upper Austria, which is focusing very strongly on medical technologies.
And in these clusters, the universities, the research institutions, the private ones as well as the state-owned ones, and the big companies, the small companies work closely together. And I think these are the short ways mentioned before, and that's how it works in Austria and what makes the life science sector so effective.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sometimes a small country can make a big impact in the life science scene, obviously. Thank you, ladies.